everybody, thank you for joining me on Slingin Pixels, Tales from the Graphic Design Trenches. My name is Nick, and I am your host for this show. I have been a graphic designer for about 28 years now. I've been mentoring a few students recently, and they told me, hey, this information is great. You should start a podcast to share your experiences with other people. So that's what I'm doing. I've had the pleasure of working in all kinds of different industries throughout my career. I worked for multi-million-dollar companies. I've worked for the government. I've worked in broadcasting. I've worked in education at a couple places. I've done lots of different things, and believe me, I've loved some of them, I've hated some of them, and some of them have been just in between. So a little bit about how I came into the graphic design field myself. So way back in the days of yore, a time called the 80s. Most people didn't have computers in the early 80s. My dad did. I was lucky enough that my dad needed them for his work. So we had computers in the house from the time I was probably 8-9 years old, back in the even older time called the 70s. But in 1981-ish, my dad brought home the first Apple II, and that changed everything. The ones that we had before that I found boring. You had to program. There was no graphics really. It's just all typing in code to do anything you wanted to do. It was really dull as far as I was concerned. But the one that changed all of that was the Apple II my dad brought home in 1981. And man, that was such a big change. It was fun, finally, to use a computer. We mostly played video games. That's what I enjoyed. But it got me interested. So then a few years later, 1984, we got a Macintosh, the first Macintosh. We still had lots of games, but it also came with the very first graphics program that I had ever seen, a program called Mac Paint. And by today's standards, you would laugh and laugh if you saw it, but it was so cool back then. Oh my God, it was just the best. I would spend hours every day working in Mac Paint. I'd always loved art. I'd always been, I loved to draw for as long as I can remember. And then when I fell in love with computers, putting them together in graphic design was what's better than that, you know? Eventually, the software got better and better. Photoshop came out in, I think, 90, 91, and I was just, you couldn't get me off the computer. It was just, when I went to college, there was no question I was going to be a graphic designer. Unfortunately, the university I went to, they didn't have a graphic design program. So I had to take a combination of art classes and marketing classes. It wasn't called graphic design back then, it was called commercial art. The teacher I had for commercial art was the owner of a marketing company. The funny thing was, he absolutely insisted, he was adamant about the fact that his company would never, ever use computers for commercial art. Can you imagine that? It's crazy. And so I've always wondered, did he ever come to the conclusion that yes, I have to start using computers in my company? Or did he just go out of business because he was so stubborn? So, what can you expect from future episodes of this podcast? I'll be sharing some of my experiences from over the last 28 years of my career as a pixel slinger, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'll give you some idea of what you might expect in your career. I'll give reviews on hardware, software, cool gadgets, and whatever else I think you might enjoy. I'll share my design philosophy and strategies that I've found helpful. I won't do software tutorials. They're a dime a dozen on YouTube, done by people who are probably a lot more knowledgeable than I am. But hopefully what I'll give you will be even more valuable as far as your career goes. Thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe button wherever it is. It's around here somewhere. But yeah, thanks for watching, and hopefully I will see you again soon. Wait a minute, I can't see you. Now, hopefully you'll see me again soon. All right, so thank you. Take care.